In a dramatic turn of events, the world of cryptocurrency has been rocked by a seismic breach that has sent shockwaves through the digital investment community. The popular exchange platform WazirX has fallen victim to a massive hacking incident, leading to fears that millions of dollars in investors' funds are now hanging in balance. This breach isn't just a technical failure, it's a full-blown financial crisis that raises urgent questions about the security of our digital assets and the responsibility of exchange platforms in safeguarding our investments. Today, we delve into the heart of this controversy with an expert panel to explore the ramifications of this attack. We will scrutinize the potential fallout for the investors, the adequacy of current security measures, and the accountability of the WazirX in this high-stakes drama. Let me introduce you to Mr. Kaushal Beda, Director at Polaris Technology. Kaushal, welcome on 3.0 TV.
Hi, thanks.
Our second guest is Mr. Sanjeev Sahi, Country Manager at Chrysler Intelligence. Sanjeev ji, welcome on 3.0 TV.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
And my third guest for this evening is Navodaya Singh Rajpurohit, Web3 lawyer and legal partner, CoinQ Consulting. Welcome on 3.0 TV, guest.
Thank you for having me here.
So my first question is to Mr. Shahi. So what are your findings of your investigation in the WazirX case and how were you involved in this?
Okay, thanks, Manoj. So when this incident occurred on July 18th, we could see funds flowing because Crystal Intelligence, the company where I work, we do have a platform where you can trace the crypto funds moving from one place to other. Fantastic. On almost near real-time basis. Okay, so when this incident occurred, we took this pro bono to let's investigate because this was one of the largest hack or theft in crypto world which has happened globally. And of course, it is largest in India. So almost 230 million worth of cryptocurrencies were stolen on July 18th. Mm-hmm. In fact, WazirX also gave a press briefing and they gave a press note on probably July 23rd, where they have given the wallet ID also, which was compromised. It was their hot wallet ID, and hot wallet ID is where investor deposit their money. So they had two hot wallet IDs. All the funds were distributed among these two. One of them was compromised, and this $230 million worth of crypto was stolen.
Right.
Since we started investigating, we saw two parallel stories happening. One, the theft, whosoever it is, has stolen the fund and moved into his wallet, and then he moved to multiple locations. So when we discuss it further, we will show you with the help of graphs, which are live graphs on our platform, how the funds are moving forward. As of now, no recovery has happened, but a small fund has gone to the exchanges, which has been frozen.
So Kaushal, no recovery has happened. That's what Sanjeev has said. So my second question to you is, there is a myth in the market that the cryptocurrency transactions cannot be traced. So what is the reality about it and what are your findings about this investigation?
So firstly, everything that happens on the blockchain is on the public ledger. Mm-hmm. So crypto assets like Bitcoin or Ethereum, anybody and everybody can see it on any blockchain
Fantastic.
explorer.
Right.
However, there are certain limitations that a normal human being who's looking at, like let's say an explorer would have, which is you can see flow of funds from one wallet to another, and you'll see them as like hashes or numbers and alphanumeric characters, which kind of look funky to you. It looks weird to you. But what folks like Crystal can do, and this is because of the sophistication of their software, is they can attribute certain wallets to exchanges or to some bad actors. They can tag certain wallets to, let's say, things like terror financing. And because they can do that, we can know where funds are moving, be it from one wallet which is untagged to another, or one wallet which is untagged to an exchange. And that's where you de-anonymize and catch these criminals.
All right. So my next question is Mr. Navodaya Singh. So since we are talking about a broad heist wherein, which suffered a massive cyber attack as well, and the status is still unknown. So what is the possible legal resource available to WazirX customers as of now, and for the recovery, which is we're talking about the value of assets or assets itself in excess of 2,000 crores?
Thank you, Manoj, for the question. So, firstly, we'll have to segregate the two kind of relief that can be sought by the consumers. One is a relief against WazirX for the criminal action of losing of funds or keeping the funds without the consent of the people for non-ERC tokens. And the other one is the civil remedy where consumers are seeking return of their assets or refund or any compensation or damages for what they have suffered. So with respect to damages or civil relief, there are four possible options as of now what consumers can opt for. One, the primary thing which comes into picture is Consumer Protection Act, wherein they can approach a consumer tribunal or consumer commission based on the amount which they have invested or the amount they are claiming to either NCDRC, to a state commission, to a district commission, depending on the value and the geography of the consumers. Mm-hmm. Then the other proceeding which can be initiated is under civil proceedings, where they approach civil courts or commercial court, depending on the kind of transaction they had, asking either for recovery of the complete assets, as in a specific performance of the conditions or the obligations of the party, wherein the consumers are seeking that the assets which they have on the platform should be returned as it is, or they may then seek compensation or damages for the amount which they are claiming for the assets. Then the other option which they have is a class action suit which they can file before the commercial courts or civil courts, wherein majority of the consumers can join in together and seek a relief. But the only problem herein is that the terms of service which WazirX has a lot of impediments and restrictions on how consumers can approach a court, or whether they can or cannot approach a court, because of the mandatory arbitration clause which is embedded in the terms of services, which requires any and all the disputes under the terms of service of WazirX should be referred to Singapore International Arbitration Center, which is causing a lot of trouble for the consumers, because for a consumer who does not have a lot of funds with WazirX, or the claim is less than maybe a lakh or 2 lakh rupees, for them to approach Singapore International Arbitration Center would be financially impossible. And the last option that they have is under Information Technology Act, through which also they can seek compensation. So these are the four options that a person or consumer have: either approaching Consumer Protection, Consumer Commission, then Information Technology Act, then the other one is civil proceeding, and the last one is, of course, the arbitration, which they have mentioned in their terms of services.
Fantastic. Sanjeev, Navya just mentioned about the various possibilities about how investors can approach and what are the possibilities as far as the legal is concerned. So how is Crystal Intelligence is helping, or are you working with the law enforcement agencies and financial institutions in crumbling the illicit activities using cryptocurrencies? If you can just take us through, sir.
Yes, so Crystal Intelligence has a platform which helps tracing these funds on near real-time basis.
Right.
And also we are, in many cases, we are able to attribute who are the entities behind it. Just to elaborate this and to make it simple for the normal listeners, if a crypto transactions happen on blockchain is a transparent platform. You can see the transaction happening from wallet A to wallet B, generally on freeware tools. However, you won't be able to make it who is the person or entity behind wallet A or B, because this is alphanumeric string. And that's where platform like Crystal Intelligence come into picture. We have team of data analysts who work day in and day out, and they try to, and there are a lot of algorithms and technology involved into it. A lot of artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms are involved, where we try to find out the wallets and try to do the attribution on those wallets, that what kind of category they belong to and who could be the entity behind it. So
Perfect.
with this help of this database and technology, we are able to help law enforcement agencies in cracking many cases across the globe.
Kaushal, Sanjeev was talking about various methods. The keywords which I have picked up is algo, data analytics, and categories of wallets. And his team is working day in day out to help the law enforcement agencies, to decipher this. So, but what role is your company playing? Kaushik, if you can just take us through in this.
So Pelora's Technologies is in a very unique place because we have a more overarching role to play here. We work in the digital forensics intelligence surveillance domain where we help law enforcement agencies. We are a systems integrator. We give them the best of breed solutions. So whenever things like these happen, for example, Sanjeev and me spoke, post this heist happening, and they're a wonderful partner. So we worked with them on this, but this particular issue. But then there are other issues which require other sets of sophisticated tools. So Pelorus has a 360 view on what's available, what kind of issues are coming up, like deep fakes, for example, big problem right now coming up in the market. Then there are AI-based sophisticated attacks. So all those we work with different vendors, and sometimes we stitch solutions cross vendors to give a more unique solution to the law enforcement agencies.
So Navyoda, since we're talking about a broad-based forensic audits, we have two audit companies with us, and you are taking care of the legal side, and you have already mentioned about the series of process in which the retail customers can approach. So, but are there any challenges in the legal remedies available to the WazirX customers? You also mentioned about that investors can seek a legal relief to withdraw their funds. If we just take us through this.
So, the terms of service which WazirX has put on their website, I think it's last year, August, was the last updated in August last year, has a lot of clauses which restricts the right of consumers. So, let's take in, for example, a force majeure clause which says that if there is any cyber attack, then WazirX would not be liable for any issues that has been created because of the cyber attack, which primarily has to be identified by a third-party investigation investigators, that whether the act which happened, as in whether the cyber attack which happened on WazirX, whether that was preventable or not. If it was preventable and it could not happen because of the negligence of WazirX, then all the consumers might have a strong case stating that they lost their amount or they lost their assets given to the custody of WazirX because of their negligence. So first of all, this has to be proved from a third-party investigation conducted by forensics. But since I think WazirX has today come up with a new investigation report which states that it was not their laptops were not compromised. So this is a report which has come up from one of the investigators that they have engaged. So something to find out whether it was their responsibility or not, it has to come up from a government investigator stating that whether it was Liminal's responsibility or fault on whether it was WazirX's fault or whether it was Liminal's fault or whether it was unpreventable. So this would determine who would be responsible and what is the cause of action that arises and whether force majeure clause will be applicable or not. So another issue with the policy is with respect to dispute resolution clause, which is in two parts. One is asking the consumers to refer all the matters or all the dispute with respect to the terms of services or use of any service or product of WazirX to be referred to Singapore International Arbitration.
Exactly, that's what my question was Navyoda. There is actually the user agreement of WazirX document which state that post 60 days of the buffer period, customers can approach the Singapore International Arbitration Center to seek legal relief against Zanmai, which is the parent company. And co-founders, this is actually a case wherein Nishal and Siddharth Menon have shifted to Dubai, court case in Singapore, investors are in India.
Yes, this adds to the problem which consumers might face before the courts in India because of the dispute resolution clause which refers the matter to SIAC. Now, another issue with respect to dispute resolution clause is that they have also mentioned that any small issues or any issue which is not covered under the arbitration should be referred to Small Claims Tribunal of Singapore. So now the governing law is also technically Singapore-based law.
But Navida,
So
how viable it is
Sorry?
for retail investors to go to Singapore and claim their money? Say, for example, for a person who has lost 25,000 or 30,000, 35,000 INR. So how viable it is for them to go and file a case in Singapore?
No, it is not viable for any of the small consumers who have invested maybe a small amount, as in 30,000, maybe a lakh or 2 lakh, maybe 5 lakh also, because the minimum cost that any consumer would incur approaching Singapore International Arbitration Center is roughly around 7,000 to 10,000 Singapore dollars, which does not make it viable for small consumers to even approach the arbitration center. Now, even if the small causes is there, even if the amount is small, even if they want to try to approach small claims tribunal at Singapore, the minimum amount for which the cognizance is taken is to the amount or to the tune of 20,000 Singapore dollars. So if their claims is about $20,000, they have to approach the Singapore International Arbitration. But
Fantastic.
any small cause, they can approach small causes tribunal, as in small claims
All right.
tribunal. But that is also a problem, because they would have to engage a counsel in Singapore to address all the issues, to present their claims, which will add to their financial issues with respect to claiming any relief in Singapore.
Sure. Sanjeev ji, so is there any kind of clarity that has emerged with your initial audit that on the responsibility of the WazirX, is it, or the WazirX or the liminal for the cyber attack? If you can just share that with us.
So our investigation was limited to our investigation starts after the incident occurred. So what happened before that, WazirX is going to talk about that. I think they have done their own investigation, and it will come in some time, maybe what happened there. What we can talk about is where the fund is flowing, where it has been stalled, and what can happen to that.
What's happening? Is there any kind of clarity on the responsibility? If you can just share that.
So I think I share Sanjeev's view here. There's like the off-chain investigation, like prior to the money is being stolen from the wallet. There's a lot of recce that the criminals must have done. They must have tested systems. They must have they probably left certain digital footprints, which I'm sure the competent authorities, the law enforcement agencies, where the FIR is filed in Delhi Special Police, they're going to check it. They're going to do their due diligence. Crystal's role comes in once funds have started moving in on-chain from the hot wallet outwards, and that's what they're tracking right now.
So Navida, what's your closing remark? What's the road ahead? Are investors going to get their money back? That's the final question.
So it's a long road for consumers to get their funds back, unless WazirX decides to refund everyone, which is highly unlikely unless they receive the funds which has been lost. But it's a long fight. All the consumers should be ready for a long fight before either SIC or any other courts in India, depending on what their claims are, because there is a separation there are different class of people who are involved here, because some of them want the refund, some of them want their assets back. So that will also classify different class of consumers, and based on that, a collective action would be helpful rather than approaching the courts individually, because if any judgment comes in against any consumer in any of the proceedings, the same judgment would be used against every other consumer in any other court where the consumers approach. So the consumers has to think collectively and approach the designated court or the competent court collectively rather than individually, to save everyone from any of the precedents. Otherwise, there will be a conflict on what judgment has been passed or
Fantastic.
what specific relief has been sought.
So collective action is important. That's what the word coming in from Navida Singh. Sanjeev ji, your closing remarks on this.
So Manoj, I would like to add a little bit to what Navida has said. Let's not assume the fund is completely lost. Fund is still on the chain. It has not been used for any purpose. And if you allow me, I'll show you on the platform, our software tool, how it is flowing, what happened on July 18th, what they have done in response. They have gone into certain, they have gone to bounty program, they have lodged a FIR in IFSO in Delhi, and many other things. They also mentioned about this wallet address, which was compromised that day. And this was the wallet address where from where 230 million worth of crypto was stolen. So we picked up this wallet and then we started investigating. So I'll share the platform, our investigation output on the platform itself, and then you can maybe use it. So this is how it looked like. We have made it very simple for understanding of a common man. However, this was the wallet which was compromised. So if you can see address here, this was the same address which was published by WazirX. And this was on 18th of July. If I can increase the size, you can see here on 18th of this note is given. So this was compromised on 18th of July. And the funds moved from here to this wallet ID, this wallet, which is the thief's WazirX thief. We have tagged it as, and all the fund moved here. And when we were investigating, there was a parallel story we saw when we backtraced. We wanted to know where this, who is behind it. So we could see there was some funding happening in this wallet already few days back. So if you can see here, it was on 10th of July. He was funding this wallet and there were $290 worth four transactions, which came here. It was before the theft happened. So probably the thief was planning already. He was doing the Reiki in the system and he was planning the way he wanted to move. And this fund, probably he funded to this wallet because when he stolen the fund from WazirX, those were in different cryptocurrencies. And he wanted to probably convert into Ethereum and fewer of them and then move forward. So in order to do that, he has to pay a transaction fee, which is called gas fee in crypto parlance. So he funded this wallet to pay the gas fee. So around $1,000, $1,100 were there to pay as a gas fee to convert the fund. And then he started moving the fund. So this is a complex graph, but he kind of finally what we could see and where the fund as of now is lying is some of the fund is lying here, $108,000 if you see here, is with the exchange called Change Now. And since they could make the complaint and law enforcement agencies can make the request across the globe, Change Now frozen this fund. So this money is already frozen. So it could be a very small part of the total fund, but at least partially it is frozen. And if proved that this money is the same which was stolen, it will return back. Similarly, there is a very small fund of $7,000 here, which is with Binance. So this fund is also frozen and similarly it can return. Rest of the fund, most of it are there in these three wallets. One is here, second is here, third is here, and putting all three together, there are 61,000 Ethereum tokens in these three wallets. Today, the price is close to 2 lakh rupees for one Ethereum. So 80 to 90% fund is there in these three wallets. These are private wallets, which is controlled by them only. Nobody else can have access. Nobody can know who is behind it. Hence, we don't know. But there is no movement happening after. Last movement happened probably on 8th of August. And nothing is happening after that. We do have a feature to track these transactions and wallets. So we are kind of tracking, we have put it on to monitor. And as soon as any transaction happens, any movement happens here, we will get the alert. And based on alert, we start tracking again. So another thing which is important to know is, Manojji, as we were talking, any crypto fund on the chain is a notional value. You can't do anything with that, right? In order to use, you have to go to the real world. If you want to buy a car or house or anything, or maybe you want to convert into fiat, you will go to the exchange. They will convert the money into rupee or USD or anything and transfer the money to your account. And once that happens, we have chances to catch hold of the culprits. Unless until they do any such things, it's very difficult to track. But partially, you can see there are some money which is frozen on the exchanges. And there has been many instances in past that recovery has happened. Maybe partial, may not be fully. For example, I can talk about Mt. Gox's case. In 2014, when this industry was very nascent, Mt. Gox was largest exchange in Japan, and there was theft occurred over there. And exchange gone bust, retailers lost the money, the way it is happening here. But important thing is 10 years down the line, there are certain recoveries happening. And as and when recoveries are happening, as per their policy and the government regulation there, the fund is getting returned to many of investors today. And it has happened at multiple other locations, occasions. So it is not that it's completely lost. There is possibility for the recovery. It may not be the full recovery. We have never seen in the history of crypto theft where full recovery has happened. But we should not lose hope on that.
So that's the word coming in from Sanjeev Ji. Funds is not lost yet. It's on the chain. What do you think? It will take as long as the Mt. Gox?
So we can never say how long it'll take. But one thing, something important that Sanjeev pointed out, was maybe the entirety of the funds or in terms of the crypto assets might not come in. But hopefully by the time it gets recovered, the value has tripled, quadrupled. So, the investors probably get back a little more than the bang for the buck. So I'm really hoping, I'm looking at it from an investor perspective. I really hope they recover everything they've lost.
So recover everything that is lost. That's a word coming in from gentlemen. Thank you so much for being part of this interaction. From my studio, Mr. Kaushal Veda, Sanjeev Ji and Navjot Singh. It was a pleasure having you on this WazirX debate. And let's see how investors are going to benefit from this initiative or not. Thank you so much for joining on 3.0 TV on this special coverage. This is Manoj Dara signing off. But stay tuned and watch 3.0 TV for more such interesting update and debate from the crypto world. Thank you.